Welcome everyone. The globe's biggest goals require the globe's largest leaders. Welcome everyone to Real Leaders for the Global Goals. I'm your host, Kevin Edwards. Alongside me today we have Deb Gibbons, the Chief Operating Officer of Mary Kay Inc. Deb, thanks for being with us today.
You're welcome. It's a real privilege to be with you today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, Deb, we were just speaking a little bit before the show about this new Woman Accelerator program. But before we go into that, what experiences have kind of led you up or teed you up to become the COO of Mary Kay Inc.?
Well, I have worked my entire career in finance, and so I started in accounting and consulting, and then I had a long career at PepsiCo in various finance roles. And then 6 years ago, I joined Mary Kay as the CFO. And then last year, my role was expanded to include supply chain and R&D and procurement, and I became the Chief Operating Officer.
Real Leaders magazine features a lot of leaders, but there's not enough women leaders in today's day and age.
I agree.
What is going on? What's the problem right now, and how are you treating it?
In terms of women leadership?
Yes.
Well, Mary Kay, the company, was founded by a woman, Mary Kay Ash, who got frustrated because she had trainees promoted above her all the time. So she created her own company to create opportunities. Now, not every woman has to go do that, but there's an opportunity that we see that's really led to the Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator, that when women kind of get frustrated and they see lack of opportunities, often they turn to starting their own businesses. So that's how we think leaders can form, by supporting women as entrepreneurs.
I think there was a stat, it was ridiculous. It was like 2% of VC money go towards female entrepreneurs.
The numbers, it doesn't matter what market it are, just everywhere, whether it's in the developing world or the developed world. Women are really at a disadvantage when it comes to funding, access to mentors, access to networks. So there's so much work that has to happen, and so that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Where do you think this problem stems from?
You know,
I've been asking myself that a lot.
I know. Well, I think it's just cultural. Hopefully it starts with a lot of its cultural attitudes. Sometimes it's laws and policies. There's so many still really discriminatory laws and policies on books around the world. You know, whether women aren't able to open bank accounts, access to markets, access, be able to travel freely, to be able to have property. There's so many things that just stem from it. But even if they're great laws, it's also cultural attitudes. And so changing those is really critical too.
With this problem being so complex, where are you starting right now?
Well, it's a great question. Because it is so complex, we decided we needed a partner with a really experienced global organization. So that's why we're choosing to work with the UN. As you may know, we just signed on to the Global Compact. Earlier this year, we signed on to the Women's Empowerment Principles, so WEPs, and that led us into being a part of the Global Compact. So we felt like we needed a broad organization that has lots of experience in tackling complex problems, and that is the UN, just down the street. And so we're working with 6 UN agencies led by UN Women. We've had a long history at Mary Kay of working with the UN. In China, we've had a relationship with the UNDP, and so that partnership led us to talking to the UN on a broader basis with starting this Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator.
So these 6 UN members,
or agencies,
sorry.
Yeah.
How are they taking on these problems? Are they giving more capital funding to entrepreneurs? Are they educating them? Is it a program? What is
all of the above.
All the
and
above.
That's why we're working with it, because it is a complex problem. It's not just one silver bullet that tackles this issue. It's very multifaceted, and so each of the agencies are bringing a different aspect. So UN Women really works on policy issues and advocacy at a civil society level, at government level. ITC brings really credible training and on-the-ground networks that work through their She Trades organization, so they have a real aptitude for execution that they'll bring expertise to. The UN Office for Partnerships is helping us kind of bring it all together in the UN world. The International Labor Organization has content on workforce development. So it's really a broad spectrum. They all bring a different aspect to each of the multifaceted aspects of the Women's Accelerator.
That's amazing, because I totally agree that females in this space, they need to see women leaders in this space.
Absolutely.
Is there a leader that you look up to, or the one that's inspired you?
Well, yeah, I didn't get the chance to meet Mary Kay Ash, but everything I know about her and hear about her and see about her in our company is like, oh, I look up to her even though she's not with us anymore, but she was really inspirational. When I worked at PepsiCo, obviously Indra Nooyi was the first female CEO at PepsiCo, so I had a lot of respect and had the chance to work with her when she started as a CFO at PepsiCo when I was there in the finance organization. So certainly a lot of respect and admiration for Indra and what she was able to accomplish in her long tenure at the CEO at PepsiCo.
Well, Deb, we talked a little about some of the problems that are facing right now, whether it's funding or opportunities. We talked about kind of how Mary Kay Incorporated and the accelerator is taking it on. What's the vision now? And then where do you see this accelerator going in the next couple of years?
Well, we're just making the announcement now. There's been so much hard work over the last several months working with our, lots of women and men helping us put this together to be ready for the announcement. But even more of the hard work, I'd say hard work started, but more hard work ahead in terms of we've got a framework, but we've got to flesh that out. So setting specifics of the program and metrics and outcomes that we want to see will be the work ahead of the next few months. There'll be more details as we launch and allow women to participate in the accelerator in 2020. So more to come, more details today. We're just making the announcement, but we have some big goals. We want to make this accessible to all women everywhere in every country. So while some entrepreneurship programs focus on the developing world or maybe helping micropreneurs, we want to make this accessible to anyone, any woman with a business in any market, because we know the opportunities exist everywhere, whether it's in the US, the UK, or Malaysia, or Belarus. The opportunities are needed everywhere, and so we want to make it accessible to all women everywhere. Right now, our high-level goal is to engage 10 million women in 190 plus countries over the next decade.
Deb, this is going to take a lot of leadership.
Yes, it is.
What's your definition of a real leader?
Oh, wow. So many definitions, but I think for me personally, I aspire to be a leader, and I respect leaders who are really transparent and vulnerable with their teams. So I think that's key, because transparency and vulnerability are critical to driving trust. And so real leaders are trusted leaders. And so I think those are my definition of a real leader.
Well, for the leaders out there listening to this, be a little bit more transparent, have some more vulnerability, and always, folks, keep it real. For Deb Gibbons, I'm Kevin Edwards. Thank you for tuning in today, coming live from here in New York City.